What is going on, Frontstretch.com? It is me, Jared Haas, here with a preview of the three championship races happening this weekend at Phoenix Raceway. Joining me is our underdog house rider, Luken Glover. Luken, we have three series to break down. Not a line of time to do it. Are you ready?
As ready as I ever going to be. I tell you, I've made a different pick about every day this week. Been going back and forth on who my picks are, so I might as well just get the old dartboard out, toss one, and hope it lands on the right one. So.
Well, we're going to start with what's going on Friday with the Camping World Truck Series. It's going to be, Ty Majeski's won the last two races. He won at Homestead, and then he won the prior race for it. And then he had Zane Smith start the season with 3 wins. And then you got Mr. Ben Rhodes, Mr. I just won the championship, and then just throw in a Chandler Smith. What are your thoughts on the Truck Series championship?
The Truck Series, it's so peculiar. It's one of the most interesting series, I think. Obviously, with the Championship 4 across all 3 series, it's really hard to make a pick. But I would argue the Truck Series is the hardest fit just because just how important it is to get hot at the right time. And trucks without the experience, like the Cup and Xfinity guys have, one guy can get hot one race. And I mean, we saw John Hunter Nemechek. We thought he was going to walk into Phoenix and lead. He could have walked into Phoenix with the Cup or with the trophy, we thought last year, and he had a bad race. So I think overall, the Truck Series is the hardest to pick, but all 4 guys have a really good case to make. It's pretty crazy that Ben Rhodes, who is our defending series champion, probably is the underdog in this scenario, just based on how the season has went, how the playoffs have went. But that's just the way this format has worked out and the way his season has worked out.
So we got to do our picks for the Truck Series, and I like momentum in this part. There's a lot of unpredictability. Understandably, Ben Rhodes has been there. Gave a pretty chaotic post-race conversation with the media last year, but I'm going to go with Ty Majeski. Seems like that momentum is riding with Thor Motorsport, excuse me, and I think it's just he was really building on that in the beginning of the season. Seemed like he would score like a second, top 5, Billy Reed, really under the radar. But now all of a sudden, when the money's, points are on the line, money's on the line, Ty Majeski showed up. I think he's going to get it done for the Truck Series. Who are you picking?
Yeah, Majeski is a really good pick. I mean, you look at in the past, especially the past couple of months, and tracks that kind of have those similarities to Richmond. You look at IRP and Richmond. I mean, 2 tracks that he didn't win, but he had really good runs at. And of course, Bristol, where he had a really strong run on the short track. So I like that pick. Originally, I had went with Chandler Smith. He's the defending winner of this race. He won Richmond, which is also you can build some notes off of for Phoenix. But in the end, I've got to stick with Zane Smith. He's in probably the best position he's been in. I think this is his 3rd time making a championship 4 and 3 truck attempts. He's been runner-up the last 2 years. I think he finally emerges number 1 and most likely gives us a more mild post-race press conference compared to last year.
I mean, yeah, our front stretch's Michael Massey asked Chandler Smith if he's going to be duplicating Ben Rhodes's, and Chandler Smith reminded him that he's 20, so he's not going to go that crazy. But I mean, championship is a championship. He wants to remember that. Turning gears, Xfinity Series. Boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Martinsville, I talked about with Ty Gibbs last in this previous video, but it's basically Ty Gibbs versus Junior Motorsports or Ty Gibbs versus the world. The question, I think, is just basically, Noah Gragson just tore out that, Ty Gibbs lost all respect and, just basically bashed him during media day. Does Ty Gibbs make it through and win the championship? That's got to be my most obvious question.
You just never know. I mean, you got to give him credit. He's talented. He's an extremely talented driver. There's no denying that. But at the same time, even though you're not trying to make friends every week, you got to have at least some respect. That's the big thing. And he has probably 0% right now with his peers. And I just don't think he gets it done, especially if it comes down between him and Noah Gragson, which is a legit possibility. Because Gragson, like you said, it was a pretty chaotic media presser. He just straight up said, I don't like Ty Gibbs. I am not a fan of him. I just don't like him. He rubs me in the wrong way. So it kind of reminds me of a 2019 situation where we had Kevin Harvick versus Joe Gibbs Racing, except Joe Gibbs Racing actually had respect for Harvick, I think. But based on everything, Gregson has been really hot. Josh Berry, he's someone I'm really looking at who could be a dark horse. And then we know Justin Allgaier's resume at Phoenix. So in the end, I just don't think the odds are in Ty Gibbs' favor.
Well, you've said it that Ty Gibbs is not going to be your pick. So you got 3 junior motorsports cars right in a row, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to go with a guy that's obviously won here in Phoenix before, Noah Gragson. This has been his year of, even though Allmendinger has been consistently better, Noah Gragson has got those wins, and he seems like he's closing the deal more and more later on the season. I think he gets it done. I think he won here in the spring too, so I think a sweep for Gragson. He's going to take the championship. Who do you have for winning the Xfinity Series championship?
Well, Waffle House needs to be firing up the grill because I think Noah Gregson's going to be making a trip there after he recovers from probably some post race illness. But I've got to stick with Gregson. I'm going with the same pick. He's just been too good, and here especially in the fall, he's had the momentum. He's got the experience. He's hungry. I think he's going to carry it all the way through Phoenix, win that championship, and have a little extra pep in his step when he moves to the Cup Series next year.
I think that Waffle House is not only the only establishment this year that's going to get ready, fired up for this Phoenix Raceway to the Cup Series. Obviously, Dawsonville's pool room is going to be fired up for the Cup Series. You have Chase Elliott, who's actually the slight odds-on favorite, considering that everyone was 3-1. Chase Elliott is 2-1. Then you have Joey Logano, who's won a championship before, won at Las Vegas. Kind of a Logano-ish season. He made his headline. He's got his win at the Clash, got a win at Gateway, but not something he's tearing up the track. And then you have Christopher Bell, Mr. Playoffs, all of a sudden walk-off home runs, winning at the Roval and at Martinsville. And then you got Mr. Ross video game Chastain with the Hail Mary, the Hail Melon, as Jeff Gluck would say, right against the wall and getting himself in the playoffs in a very Trackhouse type of way. It just seems like Trackhouse is kind of the lead front of this innovation. What are your thoughts going to the Cup Series? Does anybody have a favorite in this Cup Series field at all?
I don't think so because we've talked about we have the experience of Joey Logano versus Chase Elliott. It's pretty crazy if you look at the even numbered years, just how consistent Joey Logano has been when it's an even numbered year. So that's a kind of a interesting little stat there. But you look at Chase Elliott, he has the experience. He has a pretty good resume at Phoenix, obviously won a championship 2 years ago. But then you got the guys who carry the momentum and Christopher Bell and Ross Chastain. What's crazy to me is we talked about the odds there. Ross Chastain opened up the year 150-1 odds, and now it's all the way down to 3-1 odds. So you can't put anything past him. With Christopher Bell, they've thrown everything but the kitchen sink at him, it seems, these playoffs, and he's looking very much a legitimate championship contender for this week and for the years to come in that number 20 car.
I'll tell you, Ross Chastain's phone blew up when he was during media day. He told the media that he had over 1,000 text messages to answer. I can't believe that, like I said, how popular the move that was. Just trying to imagine to answer all those texts. So 4 drivers, basically same odds. Who are you picking? I'm going to let you go first for the Cup Series for who's going to be the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series champion.
Well, you mentioned the Dawsonville pool room is going to be hyped up for this week. They're hoping for championship number 2. And I think they're going to start firing that siren up, but not so fast. There's going to be a watermelon flying through there, smashing that. I think Ross Chastain is going to carry the Hail Melon from Martinsville all the way to Phoenix. I think he's going to be the true All-American, American dream and win his first championship and only Trackhouse's second season.
He would kind of seem to be the underdog, especially early on in the season, but now he's carried the momentum for my pick. Oh, man, this is just such a tough pick because you got Logano's performed well. You got the momentum of Christopher Bell. You've got Ross Chastain doing Ross Chastain's, and he was the best one that finished in the spring. He finished behind Chase Briscoe and Tyler Reddick in the spring. So best finish of the championship 4. And then, of course, Mr. Chase Elliott, been there, done that. Won a championship here in 2020. I'm going to have to actually agree with you. I like that Hail Melon move He performed well in the spring. I think Trackhouse has something really cooking there. I think he's going to win, but it's going to be one of those nail biters what we kind of like saw with the Xfinity Series race. It might come down to that last corner. It might be, I probably see Ross Chastain and Chase Elliott battling out for the championship. Luken, it was great previewing the championship series. Make sure to keep it here on the YouTube channel for all media, everything, all access NASCAR here. And always have a great race weekend.
This is Harrison Burton, driver the number 21. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, check out one of these two videos beside me. Visit frontstretch.com for more racing content.